OG, it's Sweet Science Cinema. What up, Jamil? Hall of Fame wrestler, created with the feel. Son of a boxer, comic book artist. Sweet Science Cinema, know what my favorite part is? The whole thing. From the great white hype to Rocky and Creed, the Raging Bull. Oh no, I should've spoiled it. Come check out this episode and you'll find yourself enjoying it. Sweet Science Cinema. Science Cinema.
And there's the bell. What's good, y'all? Kush Hayes here. Pro Wrestling Hall of Famer Kush Hayes here, coming to you with the new edition of Squared Circle Cinema. Still SSC. We're spelling circle SICRLE. You kids don't even spell things with vowels anymore. So get off my back. All right. With me, as always, the co-host of Sweet Science Cinema, Pro Wrestling Hall of Famer Jamil Hemphill. What's good, dude?
You got to say that whole thing 5 times again really fast.
Oh no, I can't do that at all. I neglected to put a post-it note for this, so I'm trying to do all this by memory, and that's not good. But dude, we're trying out something a little different here. It's the same RSS feed. It's the same website, thebosnet.family/SSC, but Squared Circle Cinema. We're going to try some pro wrestling films here. That's our forte. That's our background. That's what we know. We like the boxing stuff, but there's other ring fighting films, which is actually apparently a trend here, which we'll get into. But dude, last week, 2 weeks ago, we did Creed 2.
Yes, we did.
Sylvester Stallone, Michael B. Jordan. No Michael B. Jordan, but plenty of Sylvester Stallone tonight. We discovered a film that no one talks about. It's 1978's Paradise Alley. This is right after the original Rocky. It's because of the original Rocky this even got made. Folks are just like, oh wow, this kid Stallone, he's doing stuff. All right, he's got other scripts out there. Yeah, let's gobble those up. He got an Academy Award. Let's do it. Boy, were they wrong.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert, this movie sucked diddlyucks, and I can't recommend it. I'm just getting it out there right away. Jimmy, what did you think about this movie?
I mean,
what is it about?
What isn't it about? What isn't this movie about? Like, it has at least 3 movies. It is so indulgent. Look, all you need to know about this movie is right from the jump, Sylvester Stallone is singing. No one stopped him. No one said that isn't a good idea. Someone sat in the booth, they pressed it, they put it on there, they slapped it on the movie, they did a test screener, the theater watched it, the execs watched it, and they still let it go. They let it happen. And look, I could go my whole life. I love Sly. He's a part of my childhood. He's made some great movies, but I go my entire life without ever trying to hear him hit a high note ever again. I never ever want to hear Sly Stallone. You know, I'm a big fan too. If any of you listen to Kevin Smith and his podcast, Box Office Hollywood Babylon.
Babylon.
Yeah, where they do that. Sometimes his co-host will do an Sylvester Stallone singing impersonation. He's got it all wrong because he actually sounds good. Like he makes his Sylvester Stallone impression hit notes and actually carry a tune. I'm sorry, Mr. Garman, you've got it all wrong. Sylvester Stallone, he sounds like Rocky fighting the beat. That's what he sees notes in the air and he's swinging at them. Oh God, I can't. This movie could only have been made in the late 70s, early 80s.
And it was 1978.
Yeah. This is literally one of those movies for the Bay Area kids. You watch it on Channel 44. Shows up at 3 p.m. on a Sunday. You know, like this is one of those movies, and you only know it exists. It's like Dr. Detroit. You only know it exists because it came on, and you had to watch it numerous times. You would have never paid money to see it. You would have never, but now it's stuck in your head because it came on way too many times when you were a kid. That is what this movie is. I'm sorry. I got nothing else.
I definitely matched up with the Dr. Detroit reference because I watched that many times on KBHK TV 44 Channel 12. But I've never seen Paradise Alley. This probably was actually a KICU 36
Probably.
film.
Yeah.
Probably. But I still never heard of this movie before. I was just like, yeah, let's try this squared circle cinema thing. Like we went over some things. Like we talked about some body slam. We talked about fighting with my family. We did a debate about Ready to Rumble. And then I was like, did you know Stallone did a pro wrestling film? You're like, what? I'm like, me either. I didn't know. We try to dive into this. It's
Dude.
I watched this twice. It didn't get better the second time, but things are a little more solidified in my head. Thankfully, I think.
Yeah.
When
let's
movie
run through.
All
right.
Knowing what we know about this, just the genre per a Google search was pro wrestling films. So as we're watching this movie, folks a lot of the time are like, hey, Stallone, your hair's too long, you sucker. Why you should cut your hair? And he's like, nah, man, that's my trademark. He's like, hey, man, it's 1946. We just exited World War II. Why are you wearing one earring? He's like, that's my trademark, yo. And so all this time you're thinking this is a slow build. It's the 70s slow burn to him being
minutes. I on my second watch, I timed it. It was 35 minutes before we get to the thrust of the movie, which is pro wrestling. It's 35 minutes. 35 minutes into the movie. Guys, the movie is 109 minutes long. So it's a good third of the movie before you see any type of wrestling in this movie. And it, like, trust me, there's no hints of wrestling. There are no ideas of wrestling. There is nothing about wrestling. It is just about Stallone's character running hustles. And it's almost a love story. I was like, all right. I was like, is this a love story?
Almost a love story.
There's like multiple love stories.
Almost multiple love stories. Every one of them just get forced out of the picture. They all get forced out of the picture.
Much like every woman in this movie. Second watch, did you notice the casual violence to women in this movie?
Yes.
Like women are like
So at one point, Stallone and Big Glory, I forget his name, but he's the angry police chief in 48 Hours. He's the angry police chief in Loaded Weapon 1. He's the angry police chief in Last Action Hero. Those last two movies came out within a month of each other. Anyways, he's the pro wrestler in this. And at one point, him and Stallone on Christmas night get super drunk and drive a car right through these gangsters' bar, right through the window. And as soon as they pull out, instead of the gangster just chasing after him, I guess guns aren't a thing 1 year post World War II, but he just starts choking his woman out. Like he was literally singing Christmas songs with her, and she's like, "Oh my god!" Which he definitely doesn't try to choke Terry Funk. Like
the most accurate thing about pro wrestling in that movie was Stallone and Big Glory taking a truck and ramming it through somebody. Like that's something I could actually see two drunk pro wrestlers doing. That's the most realistic thing. Although the climactic fight, which we'll talk about later, I saw some reviews where people didn't like it, but I actually thought it was cool. Wrestling in the wet ring and everything.
Visually, it looked good.
I thought it was a choice, but it was cool. It was a good choice. Unlike singing the theme song, was not a good choice. But there's
the theme song, by the way, is written by Bill Conti, Rocky's Bill Conti.
Yes. Like I'm sure if you had someone turn it into a power ballad, it would have been cool, right? But Stallone chose to sing it like a Western, and it didn't work. Like I said, there were some choices made in this movie. But yeah, there's stuff with Terry Funk, who was really cool to see prime Terry Funk, wrestling for the camera. That was cool.
This was his film debut.
He gets that new robe, and like a lady's like, "Oh, you look great." He just mushes her. I was like, "Why? Why did you do that?"
Just pie faces her out of the way. He's like, "Get out of my way, bitch!"
So callous that the main bad guy, Tim Conway, who plays the main Stitch Mahone. He gives his guys like knives for Christmas presents. And one of the
knives and brass knuckles. And I'm like, thanks, boss. Yeah. This is what I wanted.
And the guy's like, oh, thanks, boss. You must have read my mind. And his girlfriend's like, it's nice. He's like, shut up. I'm like, what? It was no one passes up a chance to be mean to a woman in this movie. Like even Stallone to his girlfriend. Apparently, she's a woman of the night, a prostitute. Apparently, because they're sitting on Christmas, and he gives her basically an odometer for her bed.
A taximeter. He
right?
in a scene we don't see. He robbed a taximeter. And then even like, hey, so you know how much mileage you're keeping on your bed here.
And I was like, dude, this is the lack of couth. I was like, dude, this is horrible.
I mean, it's 1946. It's Hell's Kitchen, New York. So maybe this is all accurate. I
don't know, but that was
my God. 2022 is the best place to be right now. As crazy as times are right now, dude. Okay. Like 2022 is the best place to be as opposed to New York City, 1946. 1 year after World War II has ended.
Yeah, it was rough, man. Like, I mean, there are in here, somewhere in here, there's a pretty cool movie. Somewhere in here, there's a pretty cool movie, but there's a lot of like fat to trim off, and honestly, the last 10 minutes have got to change.
So much fat. Let's get into it. What would you change in the last 10 minutes?
Oh, these two brothers have exploited their younger brother, and all of a sudden everything's okay. No, you exploited him. You made him wrestle 40 matches in like 30 days. Like, he's dead. He's got CTE. This kid wasn't smart to begin with. This can't end well, is what I'm saying. This can't end well. And even if he won the match, and we have a little funny thing where for some reason the main bad guy wears women's underwear. Like, I have no idea what that was. Like,
that comes, not only does that come out of nowhere, but then just it's a term, folks. Right then he gets bashed. Like
exactly.
Our protagonist throws him in the crowd, and you're never gonna see him again. It's like throwing him into a pit of piranhas or velociraptors. Exactly. Like, he's gone. He's like, I'll be back. No, you won't.
No, you won't. No, you won't. You're getting thrown at and it's like if he's dead, he can't pay you your $9,000. So you're still stuck in Hell's Kitchen. There's nothing good about this ending. This ending makes no sense.
So we're not covering it this season. Maybe we'll cover it next season. Probably not. But like in Nacho Libre, when they break Lucha Libre rules and like Jack Black just like floats out of the ring and tackles the dude in gold and then pins him in the crowd with one fall, and that's the end of the movie and everyone cheers. Like, that's meant for kids. They try to do something similar here where like all of a sudden like they make it very specific. There are no rules in this. There's no time limit despite there being 22 rounds. There's no fouls, but every time Stallone's called, there's a foul, there's some fun pro wrestling stuff happening in this where like
the match itself was really cool. I give props to Terry Funk. I don't know if
he choreographed all of it. Everything. Yeah,
his name is Lee Canalito. I don't. He doesn't even have a Wikipedia link. I don't know if he ever acted again. But
he has 4 IMDb credits. This was his biggest role, apparently. Otherwise, like he does a Magnum episode. He's in a movie where he plays Tony's dad. Otherwise, this was actually a dude who had a professional boxing career.
There we go. Yeah.
So from 1977 to 1987, he was a professional heavyweight boxer. He's 6'5". He was born in 1953 in Houston, Texas, and his nickname was the Italian Stallion. Oh my goodness! Yeah, he mostly fought in Miami Beach. One of his IMDb credits is once boxed on national television. Otherwise, there's not much about him. He had a stellar boxing career. He came out of Texas, as I just said. Was trained by Angelo Dundee from 77 to 81. And then, that's about, he was going to be in Tarzan for a minute and then got replaced by someone else. Like, he was just lucky to have met Sylvester Stallone, I think.
So he that the match at the end, him working with Funk was really good. So like, but yeah, like it seems to me like also Sylvester Stallone, Cosmo Carboni, his character, I guess is the grifter brother, and
Yes.
he has no redeeming qualities for like 80% of this
No,
movie.
he's a shithead the entire time. And the
Yeah,
only time he cares about his brother is when he's not being in on the grift. Like Armando Sante, by the way, Armando Sante's debut acting film. Like he'd been in a couple movies, but this is where he's featured. Anyways, yeah. Armando Sante is doing the hustle better than Stallone. He's like, hey man, like our brothers fought 35 matches. Like maybe we shouldn't do this. And he's like, fuck you, man. Like we're making money here. We're winning.
His character also does a 180 for no reason. Like he just apparently the girl that Stallone's been wooing for half the movie, we find out was actually dumped by his brother, who then decides he wants her again, only to become the worst grifter than Stallone and then dump her again. Like,
to be fair, she broke up with him on this one, and I kind of agree with him. He's like, it's Christmas Eve. I know it's Christmas Eve, but I already booked my brother to be in this fight, so I got to be there. But for whatever reason, he's not saying any of that. He's like, look, there's like money on the line here. I got to work tonight, and she's thinking he's cheating on her. She's like, what color hair is your meeting tonight? And he's like,
but he's also disappeared for days at a time, because they did point out that she's like, I haven't seen you in 3 days.
Yeah.
You know? So so he has been vanishing. But oh my god! And one of the worst things I saw, worst quotes about this movie that I saw, is Stallone actually lamented that the producers made him cut a lot of the movie. I'm like, what else did you have in here? What are there aliens? Are there, were you actually going to show flashbacks to the war? What else was in this movie that because the kitchen sink is in this movie.
Dude,
like,
so this movie is an hour and 40 plus minutes, and as you said, things were cut out of this. He did an interview with Roger Ebert in 1980, and here's a quote, part of his quote. I'll never forgive myself for the way I allowed myself to be manipulated during the editing of this film. There were a lot of scenes in there to give atmosphere and character, and they wanted them out just to speed things along. They removed 40 scenes. 40 scenes altogether. I put 10 of them back in for the TV version.
That's at least 35 minutes added to this movie.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Like the super edited version. Like, yeah, things are absolutely missing from this movie. But thank you, Lou Weiserman, who was the head and the owner of MCA Universal at the time when this movie came out. Do you know anything about Lou Weiserman?
Not a lot. No. Only of his
Lou Weiserman started out as a humble agent for the MCA record company. He eventually booked all the best talent that they could put on wax and got so successful that he bought the business from the powers that be. He then became even more successful and just went like, I should put this music in movies. There's sound now. Fuck it. And he bought Universal Studios and produced so much shit there where Johnny Carson himself is like doing the bow down to him, like I can't make this guy mad. This is the dude. So thank you, Lou Wasserman, and everybody working under you at this time in 1978, because this movie was goddamn awful. Yeah, man. So Stallone is going after his older brother's ex-girlfriend, but has his hooker on the side, despite the fact that this woman he's after is also kind of a hooker, but not. There were different rules back then, kids.
Apparently, she could just dance with men. She did not do anything with them because. Well, I mean, but what do you expect?
You went in for the dance, and then you whispered into that girl's ear. And they were like, hey, for X amount, and then X number of things would happen after that, after a thing was negotiated. But that was the original gentleman's club.
Yeah.
And that's the world we're living here in 1946.
I will give Stallone this. Each character on their own is colorful.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Each character is cool. Like the characters are fun. Like Stallone as Cosmo is a crap. You know, he's just a horrible human being. Armando Santi as Lenny is kind of a cipher until he turns into almost like an antagonist, right? Power corrupts him or whatever. But you know, each of the gangsters are fun to watch. You know, they're
cartoony
in the 80s villain. Yeah,
yes.
like if anything, the two most pro wrestling things about this movie again are stealing the car on Christmas Eve and crashing it through somebody's window. That is completely a story that a pro wrestler would have. I promise you that if you talk to enough pro wrestlers, that someone has a story about that. And two, the colorfulness of the characters. They're almost to a stereotype, right? Everyone's almost a stereotype. But if anything, this is a movie full of 80s pro wrestling characters. Like, I will give it that. Like I don't know if that's done intentionally, but what I'm saying is that it's very, you know, I can see why Ted DiBiase and Terry Funk will be okay with being in this movie. So
they were probably sold a different movie, though. I bet Ted DiBiase is super disappointed where he's just in kind of a montage.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, there was one guy who took an amazing bump. I don't know who it was, but took a corner bump that was just amazing. Like, can't remember during that montage. He took
That's probably Rock Riddle, I'm betting. I know the bump.
Yeah,
he did the Shawn Michaels bump where he did a flip into the corner.
Yes, and then came back into the ring and sold it. Oh, it was great.
Yeah.
The bump was amazing.
I'm going to guess that's Rock Riddle. Let me see here. I actually have everyone's names here. Here we go. So all pro wrestlers that are in this montage, and if you slowly blink, it's Ted DiBiase, Haku, Dory Funk Jr.,
yes,
Don Lee, Jonathan, I don't know who that is. Don Kernodle made appearance. We got Don Kernodle in here. Gene Kaczynski, Dick Murdoch, Bob Ropp, Dennis Stamp. Thank God Dennis Stamp was there. And Bay Area legend Ray Stevens.
Yes.
But I wouldn't know Haku's in that movie.
No.
Like it's
a blink and you miss it.
I don't even know if he's in that blank, dude. Just to be honest, he might have still been credited per contract.
Can we talk about the suicide played for laughs as well?
Please. Is it played for? I didn't feel it was played for laughs, but yeah, that shit is still weird.
Yeah, like I'm trying to figure out how he died from just jumping off the boat from 3 feet in the water. Like, did you literally breathe in the water? Like, I can understand if he jumped from the bridge and died, but he didn't. He landed in some cabbage. So then he was like, now he's angry. I'm like, but you're angry now. You're not happy anymore. Your reason for dying has now been ruined because your suicide attempt was spoiled. Now you shouldn't die, Big Glory. you know, but instead he angrily says it's not gonna matter, and he jumps 3 feet into the water. And I'm like, did he die from jumping 3 feet? Like, can he not swim? What happened? I'm pretty sure he grew up in the South, and that means he has to know how to swim. Someone was in the creek, you know. like, how did this happen? I don't even sort of have that. I don't understand how that suicide worked. I don't know.
It's a weird scene where Stallone is with his real girlfriend that he doesn't want to acknowledge, gives her the taxi meter, and he's like, hey, I gotta go do a thing with my brothers. And then she's like, all right, I'm just gonna hang out here. He's like, I'll be back. Don't fuck anybody while I'm gone, because tomorrow I'm taking you out of all of this.
Yeah.
We never see anything past this scene with her, FYI.
Oh, she's still waiting.
She's probably still waiting. She's been waiting 3 years, FYI, knowing about his obsession with his brother's ex-girlfriend. She's just like, what's wrong with you, bitch? It's 1946, but what's wrong with you? Anyway, he goes on this fucking mayhem spree with Big Glory, who is, again, the guy from 48 Hours and the other two movies I mentioned. and they at one point are just hanging out up here. They're still drinking wine, and he's like, I've had the best day of my life, so now I'm gonna kill myself. I've been just suffering every day for the last 17 years, but this was a great day, so time to end it. I guess when he botches because he lands on a garbage barge.
Yes.
All right, and that's funny. That is funny, but I don't understand what's happening here. Like, and Stallone's actually like, "Hey, what are you doing, Big Glory? Get over here!" And then he just jumps in the river, and that's the last we see of Big Glory. We discover that he hasn't made any money. He's just been wrestling for room and board. Yeah. Probably not been getting much bored, FYI, and his room not all to be desired. He was in the boiler
room, basically, with rats. You know, I mean, this is the perfect time. In a modern movie, Big Glory would have realized that it was stupid to kill himself, and then actually, I don't know, teach the younger Carboni brother how to wrestle so that he could fight Thumper. Like, this is like Stallone actually wasted a magical Negro. I cannot believe this. Like, you actually killed the magical Negro. I guess in avoiding the trope, you made it even worse.
There's a scene where they're trying to convince Victor, the brother, the youngest, giantest, dumbest brother, to start this pro wrestling career. And at first, Stallone's like, "Let's go see Big Glory and see how much money he's made." And at first, I feel like Stallone even didn't understand what he was getting into. But as soon as he's in there, he's like, "All right, let's get out of here. Like, we've been here 45 seconds. We got to go." And Big Glory's like, "You ever want to come back here? Blah 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 blah. You can ask me any question you want. And also, Victor is also humble. He's like, "Hey man, sorry about the other night. Like, I just got lucky." Like, he's the humblest dude in this movie. Can we be real, man? Just the funniest thing about Victor is that he's learning English from a Chinese woman.
Just by the way, like, I had to go look and see if the actress was actually Chinese. But I also want to point is what's the point of making her Chinese? The only reason that she is Chinese is so that Stallone's character can make a racist joke and call her Sui. That is the only reason she is Chinese. It's the only reason. There's no reason for her to be Chinese other than that. I was looking for a reason. Like, why is she Chinese? What does that have to do? Is like, maybe is he going to have to overcome racism? Is there love forbidden? Is there anything? No, it's just so Stallone can make a racist joke on her name. That is it. To show that there's nothing good about this character. Nothing good. He doesn't deserve any of the money. That's the point. Like, something should have happened to both brothers. They should have died to get Victor out of that room with the money so that he could go live on his houseboat. Like, that's what should have happened to the two brothers.
Yeah. Victor never ends up on that houseboat. At one point, like, even Armando Sante is fucking over Victor. He's like, how much money have I made? Why do you want to know that? Like, I don't know, man. I've done like 35 of these things now. Like, maybe it'd be good to know. Like, that. Don't worry about it.
But even then, he told him he had 9,000, but it sounds like he spent a lot because, I mean, he had the fancy cane, he had nice suits.
He gets very into wearing the overcoat very quickly. Like, I don't even think they're 20 matches in when he's doing that.
Yeah, the apartment that they break up in is not the same apartment he went to pick her up when they finally got back together. So
I didn't notice that. Okay.
Yeah. So they may have had $9,000 in the bank, but there was a lot more than $9,000 spent because those bets are being made. He's collecting those bets. So something tells me they could have gotten that houseboat 20 matches in.
Not is he collecting those bets, but he's also like, they're in the montage. He's going like, "Yo, that's $300. Come over here." Like, again, this is 1946 money we're talking about. So I actually went ahead and went to the internet and I found that internet inflation calculator. So in 1946, $9,000 would have equated to $131,709.23 today in 2022. So when we do get to the final match again with Terry Funk and Stallone's trying to interfere, I'm kind of on Mario Sante's side here. Like, get the fuck out of here! Why are you interrupting things? We're doing a thing here. Shut up! Like, dude, you don't understand like what the deal here is. Like, $9,000 is on the line here. Like, what? Dude, this movie is a fucking nightmare. I mean, I got all sorts of this.
I don't understand how the same person wrote this in Rocky.
Well, again, this was his earlier project before Rocky got picked up.
Yeah, I just don't understand. I don't understand. Like, even the three, like, this guy, like, Rocky got picked up, then you came back to this script, and with everything you learned from making Rocky, this is what you did. Like, I don't understand. Don't understand.
Well, he didn't know to fucking actually like keep editing. He's still riding high on his Oscar, but he's like, no, man, I've been telling everyone my writing is good. So this is what I wrote. This is what we're doing. All right. Like, it took Stallone a long time before he got to the Expendables, and we're like, all right. I mean, this is my own thing, but maybe Jason Statham works with knives. All right.
Someone check on the monkey too, by the way. Now that I'm thinking about it, that poor monkey. Last thing we saw, that monkey was strung up.
Like, the monkey never comes back in.
No, I think they killed that monkey.
So, in British prints of this film, whether or not it aired on BBC or just in the cinema, 42 seconds of this film was cut because the monkey was hogtied and duct taped. It's really inconvenient. Like, it's uncomfortable. Like, what is happening here?
That monkey was not acting at that point. He was not acting. He was like, dude, this sucks. This is not cool.
No es bueno. I got a couple other stats here about this film, but do we have anything else to say about this movie? It's not good. I can't recommend it, folks. If you need to see it, it's on Amazon Prime for $4 on a rental.
Yeah, that's what I did. I'm so glad I didn't buy it.
Right.
I'm so glad. Because usually I love movies, so usually I'll just buy them so I can go back. I'm never going to watch this again. I'm never going to watch this again. So I'm sorry, folks. I wish I had something good to say.
We don't go out of our way to find bad movies here, guys. Yeah. This is just our honest critique. Yeah. I didn't enjoy this. Jamil didn't enjoy this. This is not a good movie. I cannot recommend this. But even if you're a fan of Sylvester Stallone, all right.
Yeah.
Question mark.
I mean, if you are a wrestling fan and you really, really enjoy Terry Funk, the final fight in this movie is a pretty cool and fun and well shot wrestling match. I mean,
so again, let's go back to this final match, man. Dude.
Yeah.
They're in an indoor venue.
That is
and it's raining.
No one got electrocuted. I don't know how that happened.
No one got electrocuted because, like, so there's either no ceiling. Listeners, I can't explain this to you. Like, they're indoors.
We're 80 minutes in. I just gave up. I was like, we're 80 minutes. At this point, I'm like, you know what? Nothing else about this movie makes sense. I'm just gonna go with it. The one guy, the tap dancing bell ringer, is tap dancing in the water. I'm like, is he gonna die? Like, the lights go out.
He has no credit either. He has no credit.
Keep in mind, the building they go into is a multi-story building. Like, I'm like, how
multi-story building?
Like,
yeah, there's either no roof or it's leaking that bad. But at points, the lights go out. The interior lights go out, and thunder illuminates the match, and it's a beautiful looking scene, especially because the ring is also flooded and it's all in slow-mo, and it's not a bad looking scene.
You can't think. You can't. I made a conscious choice. I was like, you know what? This is the climactic thing. It's almost over. I'm just gonna shut my brain off. I'm not gonna ask questions because questions hurt. And you know what? I'm just gonna watch this. And you know what? It's once again Terry Funk in his prime. You know, with a person who's game, maybe not another pro, but a person who's game. And it's pretty cool, man. I'm watching some of the moves. I'm watching some of the little spots they're doing, and I'm just like, you know what? I'm just gonna enjoy this for what it is. I'm just gonna let it go. And then the ending happens, which makes no sense. Victor tries to throw the fight because his brothers are arguing, and then it turns into a brawl. So he decides to get back up and then beat the crap out of Terry Funk. And apparently, because the owner of Paradise Alley didn't want to pay out the bad guys anyway, they restart the match, I think. And then he uses his move, the ice clamp, which I guess is the only reason we see him delivering ice. So he has a finisher, and he uses the ice clamp, which is really just a bad massage. And
the ice clamp, it's literally just gripping onto your shoulder muscles.
Yeah, it was like a really
kills everybody.
Worst massage. Then he wins the match once again because the bad guy is thrown to wolves. I don't know how they get paid out, but it seems to me like $9,000 would be enough to buy a small houseboat. Anyway, so but once again, the brothers make up, and they're cool. Once again, he's like, "Thanks for exploiting me. Let's be friends." And I'm just like, no, there should have been a brawl. The gangsters should have got their knives out, and they should have the brothers needed to sacrifice themselves because there's no redeeming qualities for either of these two.
No.
Anyway, all right, I'm done.
Thank you, Lou Weisterman, for making this a shorter movie than it could have been, because I'm sure there's answers to most of our questions, but no mas. Sylvester Stallone later said that it should have not been made at the time it probably was made, and not with the acting it was made with. That's an
hey, you know what? No, I'm not even saying it's a bad script, man. It was a bad script. It was bad. The story that made sense. Everybody played their part to the best of their ability. There's no bad acting in this movie. There's no real bad acting. It's just a bad movie.
It's a bad movie. Probably bad editing.
Bad editing. Yeah, okay, bad editing. Yeah, there are entire plot lines that could have been taken out. But
I mean, we took out 40 scenes. No. We took out 40 scenes and got what we got. 40 of them.
Yeah.
So, at one point, Stallone wanted Al Pacino to play Armand Assante's character. At one point, this movie was entitled Hell's Kitchen, and it even had a novelization published under Stallone's name. This is the only film that Sylvester Stallone directed that was not a sequel. This movie made, per Box Office Mojo, and the records in 1978 were very, very slim. So this movie only made $7.1 million universally. It was number 42 out of 55 recorded movies. Our top 5 movies in 1978, from 5 going to number 1, was Heaven Can Wait, Every Which Way But Loose, National Lampoon's Animal House, Superman the movie, and Grease was the number 1 movie of 1978.
I'll leave everyone with the tagline to this movie: the Carboni Boys. They haul ice, lay out stiffs, and dance with monkeys. That was the tagline.
All right.
Yeah.
Damn.
Oh,
Damn.
boy.
I can't top that. Jamil, what do you want to promote?
Next week, if you are in Texas, please come out to DreamCon in Arlington. I will be out there next week, the 14th through the 17th, with some of your favorite YouTubers, manga creators, and comic book artists. So come on by. You can find out more information at dreamconvention.com. That's dreamconvention.com. Come on by next week. I'll see you in Arlington.
There you go. Otherwise, folks, you know what to do. Check out the Microdose every Friday. We have a lot of fun. We talk about on all the platforms, bosnet.family/microdose. Waffle Box Podcast. We talk about everything and nothing all at the same time. Friend of the family, Mike Fish. It's the best part of Wednesdays. And you'll also find that on YouTube at Waffle Box. Otherwise, for Jamil Hemphill, I've been Kush Hayes, and you've been you.
Sweet, 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 sweet.
from the Bosnet family.
Like, Stallone actually wasted a magical Negro. I cannot believe this.